B. Lawmaking process. Section 26. 1. Every bill passed by the Congress shall embrace only one subject which shall be expressed in the title thereof. 2. No bill passed by either house shall become a law unless it has passed 3 readings on separate days, and printed copies thereof in its final form have been distributed to its members 3 days before its passage, except when the President certifies to the necessity of its immediate enactment to meet a public calamity or emergency. Upon the last reading of a bill, no amendment thereto shall be allowed, and the vote thereon shall be taken immediately thereafter, and the yeas and nays entered in the journal. Requirements for the approval by Congress. 1. One title, one subject rule, to prevent hodgepodge or log-rolling legislation. 2. Bills which must originate exclusively in the House. Appropriation, revenue, tariff bill, bill authorizing increase of the public debt, bill of local application, private bill. 3. 3 reading on separate days rule. Exception. When President certifies to the necessity of its immediate enactment to meet a public calamity or emergency. 4. Printed form, 3-day requirement. Purpose is to prevent fraud, trickery, deceit, and subterfuge in the enactment of bills. 5. No amendment rule and journal entry rule upon the last reading, and the yeas and nays shall be entered in the journal. 6. Bicameral Conference Committee. It is created to settle the differences between the disagreeing provisions in the House bill and Senate bill. Section 27. 1. Every bill passed by the Congress shall, before it becomes a law, be presented to the President. If he approves the same, he shall sign it. Otherwise, he shall veto it and return the same with his objections to the House where it originated, which shall enter the objections at large in its journal and proceed to reconsider it. If, after such reconsideration, 2/3 of all the members of such House shall agree to pass the bill, it shall be sent, together with the objections, to the other House by which it shall likewise be reconsidered, and if approved by 2/3 of all the members of that House, it shall become a law. In all such cases, the votes of each House shall be determined by yeas or nays, and the names of the members voting for or against shall be entered in its journal. The President shall communicate his veto of any bill to the House where it originated within 30 days after the date of receipt thereof. Otherwise, it shall become a law as if he had signed it. 2. The President shall have the power to veto any particular item or items in an appropriation, revenue, or tariff bill, but the veto shall not affect the item or items to which he does not object. As a general rule, a bill may not become a law without the signature of the President. There are exceptions to this rule wherein the bill becomes a law after 3rd reading, such as a. When the veto of the President is overridden. B. When the President does not act on it within 30 days after receipt. C. When it is a bill repealing the emergency powers granted to the President. D. When the bill calls for a special election to elect a President and Vice President. General rule. The President must approve a bill in its entirety or disapprove it in toto. Exception. Item veto. In appropriation, revenue, and tariff bills, any particular item or items of which may be disapproved without affecting the item or items to which he does not object. However, the condition in an expenditure bill cannot be vetoed separately from the items to which they relate so long as they are appropriate in the budgetary sense. Philconsa v. Enriquez, GR number 113105, 1994. Congressional override. To override the President's veto, at least 2/3 of all members of each House must agree to pass the bill. In such case, the veto is overridden and the bill becomes law without need of presidential approval. Doctrine of inappropriate provision. A provision that is constitutionally inappropriate for an appropriation bill may be singled out for veto even if it is not an appropriation or revenue item. C. Appropriation. Section 24. All appropriation, revenue, or tariff bills, bills authorizing increase of the public debt, bills of local application, and private bills shall originate exclusively in the House of Representatives, but the Senate may propose or concur with amendments. Section 25. 1. The Congress may not increase the appropriations recommended by the President for the operation of the government as specified in the budget. The form, content, and manner of preparation of the budget shall be prescribed by law. 2. No provision or enactment shall be embraced in the General Appropriations Bill unless it relates specifically to some particular appropriation therein. Any such provision or enactment shall be limited in its operation to the appropriation to which it relates. 3. The procedure in approving appropriations for the Congress shall strictly follow the procedure for approving appropriations for other departments and agencies. 4. A special appropriations bill shall specify the purpose for which it is intended, and shall be supported by funds actually available as certified by the National Treasurer, or to be raised by a corresponding revenue proposed therein. 5. No law shall be passed authorizing any transfer of appropriations. However, the President of the Senate, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, and the heads of constitutional commissions may, by law, be authorized to augment any item in the General Appropriations Law for their respective offices from savings in other items of their respective appropriations. 6. Discretionary funds appropriated for particular officials shall be disbursed only for public purposes to be supported by appropriate vouchers and subject to such guidelines as may be prescribed by law. 7. If, by the end of any fiscal year, the Congress shall have failed to pass the General Appropriations Bill for the ensuing fiscal year, the General Appropriations Law for the preceding fiscal year shall be deemed reenacted and shall remain in force and effect until the General Appropriations Bill is passed by the Congress. Section 29. 1. No money shall be paid out of the Treasury except in pursuance of an appropriation made by law. 2. No public money or property shall be appropriated, applied, paid, or employed directly or indirectly for the use, benefit, or support of any sect, church, denomination, sectarian institution, or system of religion, or of any priest, preacher, minister, or other religious teacher or dignitary as such, except when such priest, preacher, minister, or dignitary is assigned to the armed forces, or to any penal institution, or government orphanage or leprosarium. 3. All money collected on any tax levied for a special purpose shall be treated as a special fund and paid out for such purpose only. If the purpose for which a special fund was created has been fulfilled or abandoned, the balance, if any, shall be transferred to the general funds of the government.